What if Ash kept all of his ace Pokemon and used them during Pokémon Journeys and the World Coronation series? So instead of leaving his strongest Pokemon behind after every region, Ash keeps all of them with him over the years. This means Ash slowly builds the strongest team he has ever had before Journeys even starts. Obviously, Pikachu stays with him since Pikachu is Ash's main partner through the entire anime, and by Journeys, Pikachu is already ridiculously strong after battling Elite Four members, champions, Ultra Beasts, and even legendaries throughout the series. After the Orange Islands, Charizard finally starts respecting Ash, but instead of leaving Charizard behind for years, Ash keeps him on the team, which means Charizard keeps fighting stronger opponents through Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, and eventually Journeys too. Over time, Charizard becomes even stronger than he originally was in the anime, because now he constantly battles high-level trainers instead of barely appearing every few seasons. Then during Hoenn, Ash catches Treecko. At first, Treecko is calm and already acts stronger than most of Ash's Pokemon. Eventually, Treecko evolves into Grovyle and then Sceptile. During the Battle Frontier and Sinnoh, Sceptile becomes one of Ash's strongest Pokemon overall. Then after defeating Tobias's Darkrai during the Sinnoh League, Ash realizes Sceptile is way too valuable to leave behind. So Sceptile officially becomes one of Ash's permanent ace Pokemon moving forward. Then in Sinnoh, Ash meets Chimchar after Paul abandons him. Ash trains Chimchar throughout the entire region until he evolves into Monferno and finally Infernape. The Paul battle still happens almost the exact same way, except now after fully mastering Blaze, Infernape keeps training with Ash after Sinnoh ends instead of sitting at Oak's lab, which means by Journeys, Infernape has years of extra experience and honestly becomes one of Ash's strongest close-range fighters overall. Then eventually Ash heads to Kalos and catches Froakie. Just like in the original anime, Froakie is extremely picky about trainers and only joins Ash after seeing how determined he is. Over time, Froakie evolves into Frogadier and eventually Greninja. Then Ash and Greninja unlock the bond phenomenon, creating Ash Greninja. During the Kalos League, Greninja pushes Alan's Mega Charizard X harder than almost anybody else in the series. But unlike the original anime, Greninja never stays behind in Kalos. Ash keeps him on the team permanently, meaning Ash still has access to Ash Greninja during Journeys. Then during Alola, Ash still wins the league, but now he's doing it while rotating some of the strongest Pokemon he has ever caught. Trainers in Alola honestly get overwhelmed fighting against Pokemon like Charizard, Infernape, and Sceptile mixed together. Even Kukoi's battle becomes harder because Ash now has way more experienced Pokemon available. Then eventually Journey starts and Ash catches Riolu. Riolu grows insanely fast because he's constantly surrounded by Ash's strongest Pokemon. Instead of only training with Pikachu and a newer team, Riolu is now training around Charizard, Greninja, Sceptile, and Infernape every day, which honestly makes Riolu improve way faster than in the original anime. Eventually Riolu evolves into Lucario and later unlocks Mega Evolution too. So by the start of the World Coronation series, Ash's team is Pikachu, Charizard, Sceptile, Infernape, Greninja, and Lucario. And honestly, the rankings probably go way differently now, because Ash rises through the lower ranks extremely fast. Most trainers honestly are not prepared for Ash Greninja or Charizard this early into the tournament. Even battles that originally gave Ash trouble probably become way easier now, because Ash already has years of experience using these Pokemon together as one team instead of constantly resetting every region. If you guys like these videos, this is a brand new channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys liked and subscribed. But anyway, let's get back into the story. Now, if you guys are wondering why Ash still didn't win every single league before Journeys, even with all these ace Pokemon, it's because Ash still likes using the Pokemon he catches in each region. He still trains new Pokemon and gives them battle experience. The ace Pokemon are basically the Pokemon he keeps around with him while rotating newer Pokemon onto the team too. So over the years, Ash's newer Pokemon improve way faster because they're constantly training around Pokemon like Charizard, Greninja, and Infernape. Now eventually Pokemon Journey starts, and this changes everything, because instead of building a completely brand new team from scratch, Ash decides to mainly use his ace Pokemon for the World Coronation series, and honestly, a lot of Pokemon fans would probably say this team is completely unfair, but that's literally the point of this timeline. Ash is entering the World Coronation series with Pikachu, Charizard, Sceptile, Infernape, Greninja, and Lucario. That team is absolutely broken, so Ash starts flying through the rankings way faster than in the original anime. Most of the earlier World Coronation battles honestly become pretty easy for him because normal trainers are not ready for Pokemon this strong. When Ash battles Viscas, Pikachu, and Sceptile pretty much handle the battle quickly. Then during some of the smaller tournament fights, Ash starts using Infernape and Charizard more often, and people immediately start noticing how stacked Ash's team really is. Then eventually Ash battles Karina. Originally this battle was mostly focused on Lucario, but in this timeline, Ash actually uses Greninja too. Once Ash Greninja appears, Karina honestly starts struggling badly because Greninja's speed is just too much for her Mega Lucario to handle for long. Mega Lucario still lands some good hits, but Greninja eventually overwhelms it. Then Ash battles B, and this fight honestly becomes way different now. B's entire battle style is close range combat, but Ash now has Pokemon like Infernape and Lucario that specialize in those exact kinds of fights. Infernape actually does extremely well against Grapploct, especially once Blaze activates. Then during the rematch, Ash uses Charizard, Pikachu, and Lucario. Gigantamax Machamp gives Ash some trouble, but Pikachu still finishes the battle in the end. After this, Ash reaches the Ultra Class way earlier than before, and honestly, this is where trainers start realizing Ash might actually be one of the favorites to win the whole tournament. Because unlike most trainers, Ash isn't using newer Pokemon still learning how to battle. He's using fully evolved Ace Pokemon that have years of experience fighting Elite Four members, champions, and even legendaries. Then Ash battles Volkner. Originally, this was already a difficult battle, but now Ash uses Pikachu, Greninja, and Sceptile. Volkner's Electivire still pushes Pikachu pretty hard, but Greninja's speed completely changes the flow of the fight. Then Sceptile helps finish things off with Leaf Blade after wearing down Volkner's team. Then Ash battles Marnie. Honestly, this battle is probably easier now because Pokemon like Infernape and Lucario match up really well against her aggressive style. Ash wins pretty comfortably and officially enters the Masters 8. Now, once Ash reaches the Masters 8, people honestly start viewing him completely differently compared to the original anime. Because now Ash doesn't look like the underdog slowly climbing the rankings anymore. He looks like somebody that was already champion level before the tournament even started. Absolute cinema. So Ash's first battle is against Steven Stone, and this fight is honestly way crazier now. Steven still starts off strong with Pokemon like Agron and Credilli, but Ash immediately counters using Sceptile and Infernape. Sceptile's speed gives Steven trouble early on, while Infernape's Blaze starts overwhelming Agron once the fight gets more intense. But the biggest change is honestly Charizard, because when Steven sends out Mega Metagross, Ash actually decides to use Charizard against it, instead of only relying on Pikachu and Lucario. And honestly, this becomes one of the hardest hitting fights in the tournament. Mega Metagross still dominates for a while because of Steven's battle IQ, but Charizard's experience eventually starts catching up. Then Ash finishes the battle using Pikachu after Mega Metagross is weakened, so Ash still wins and moves on to the semifinals. Now Ash battles Cynthia, and honestly, this battle becomes insane, because Ash already knows Cynthia is probably one of the smartest trainers in the world, so he takes this battle way more seriously from the start. Cynthia still uses Spiritomb to create chaos early into the fight, but Ash counters by using Greninja's speed to avoid most of Spiritomb's attacks completely. Then Lucario battles Cynthia's Togekiss while Pikachu handles Melodic. But the biggest moment of the fight is definitely Garchomp versus Ash Greninja, and honestly, this battle is ridiculous, because Greninja's speed starts pushing Garchomp harder than almost anybody Cynthia has fought before. The battlefield honestly starts getting destroyed once both Pokemon go all out, but Cynthia still proves why she's one of the strongest champions ever, because Garchomp slowly starts adapting to Greninja's movements. Eventually, Greninja weakens Garchomp enough for Lucario to finish the battle after Mega Evolving, so Ash barely defeats Cynthia and officially reaches the finals. Now, the final battle against Leon honestly becomes one of the craziest battles in Pokemon history, because unlike the original anime where Ash had some newer Pokemon, Leon is now fighting Ash's absolute strongest possible team. Leon immediately realizes Ash is way more dangerous than before once he sees Charizard, Greninja, and Pikachu all on the same team. The battle starts with Sceptile fighting Rillaboom, and honestly, Sceptile performs way better than most people expected. Even Leon starts getting surprised by how fast Ash's Pokemon are switching strategies during the fight. Then Infernape battles Cinderace, and this becomes one of the most aggressive fights in the tournament. Blaze activates during the battle, and Infernape honestly pushes Cinderace extremely hard before going down. Then Ash sends out Greninja, and once Ash Greninja appears, the entire stadium basically loses it, because most people watching have never even seen Ash use this form before during the World Coronation series. Greninja actually manages to heavily damage Leon's Charizard before going down, which becomes one of the biggest moments in the battle. Then Lucario comes in and Mega Evolves, pushing Leon's remaining Pokemon even further. Eventually, the battle comes down to Pikachu versus Leon's Charizard. Just like in the original anime, both Pokemon are exhausted at this point, and honestly, the fight is even closer now, because Leon's Charizard already took heavy damage from Greninja earlier. Then, after one final clash, Pikachu barely manages to win, and just like that, Ash officially becomes the strongest trainer in the world while using the ultimate ace Pokemon team he built throughout the entire anime. I hope you guys really liked this video. Let me know down in the comments if you guys liked it. Make sure to subscribe and click on this video on your screen right now.